Maya Ortega's world was screens, rotors, and the steady murmur of wind in the antenna masts. Her workstation, perched on a granite ridge miles from the nearest trail, sat like the prow of a ship above the Sierra Verde wilderness. On the rare days visitors arrived, they called it a tower, but it was really more laboratory than lookout. A polymer dome jammed with Li-ion batteries, satellite relays, and the 4 humming drones, Ariel, Beagle, Curie, and Drake, that patrolled 200,000 acres of western forest. Every sunrise, Maya poured a thermos of coffee, booted the station's AI console, and launched the squadron. They spread outward like silver seeds, hovering under the inversion layer while their cameras live-streamed the first light-touching snow-dammed creeks and ponderosa crowns. When smoke plumes did appear, usually from lightning-struck snags, the drone's infrared sensors triangulated hotspots, letting ground crews move before sparks crowned into an inferno. The system worked. Last season, the district clocked a 67% reduction in burn acreage. Maya's inbox was full of half-hearted congratulations from officials who still didn't understand why a 28-year-old ex-grad student had opted for isolation duty. Maya understood just fine. Out here, she controlled the variables. After the way her last lab had melted down, politics, sabotage, accusations, she'd sworn never again to sit in a room where someone could yank her work out of her hands. That vow fractured on the first Thursday of July. Ariel was flying a routine sweep of the dry creek drainage when its feed began to stutter. Packet loss wasn't unusual. Summer storms often scrambled LTE. But then the image snapped back into focus, and Maya saw herself. She was standing in a lodgepole clearing wearing the same ranger green cargo pants and russet ponytail. Same scar beside the left eye, where a lab flask had exploded 6 years ago. Ariel's camera zoomed. Duplicate Maya crouched, struck a match, and fed it into a loose nest of pine needles. Fire fluttered, then breathed outward. Maya blinked, half assuming it was cached footage riding a feedback loop. But the timestamp read 07-1433 live. GPS coordinates scrolled 39-8728°men, 119-2764°W, 20 miles from any trail and 50 from Maya's tower. Her first instinct was to radio dispatch. Her second was to keep watching, frozen with an animal fascination at seeing her own jawline lit by flame. Duplicate Maya glanced up, straight into Ariel's lens, and smiled. Then she stepped back and melted into the trees, leaving the nascent blaze licking its way across the needle bed. Maya punched commands. Drake diverted south, dropping a fire suppressant canister meant for initial ignition control. The white cloud blossomed over the clearing, smothering the young flames before they reached the burr-dry bracken. By the time ground crews arrived, they found only damp ash and the prints of one set of size 7 Scarpa boots. That night, heat lightning flickered beyond the peaks while Maya replayed the footage frame by frame, searching for artifacts. She found none. The duplicate's gait, height, and weight distribution were her own. Biometric tagging confirmed it. Image forensics algorithms pronounced the video genuine. She didn't sleep. The next day, she filed an incident report that very carefully cited unknown female suspect approximately my height. She attached a zipped copy of the feed, but the network link went dead mid-upload. When connection returned, the sent file read 0 bytes. Maya swore softly. Storm interference? She tried again. Same result. She felt, for the first time in years, the electric squeeze of paranoia between her ribs. Over the next week, Ariel and Curie both captured additional sightings. Sometimes the duplicate used a road flare, sometimes the magnesium ribbon of a camp stove starter. Each time, Maya intercepted the fire within minutes. Each time, the woman, always Maya's twin, looked directly into the lens before vanishing. Patterns emerged. The Arsons formed a crescent around the western edge of the wilderness, their intended paths trending toward the hydroelectric dam in Granite Gorge. If she modeled prevailing winds and slope topography, the fires would have merged into a mega blaze precisely where the transmission corridor cut through canyon walls. Cut the power grid, choke evacuation routes, drive resources thin. Classic cascading failure. Maya's drone fleet was good, but 4 units couldn't police that many ridges simultaneously. She needed humans on foot. She also needed to explain why the suspect looked exactly like her. Command would demand psychiatric evaluations, firearm confiscation, maybe suspension. On the 8th morning, the duplicate escalated. Curie's thermal camera caught her dousing an entire slash pile with gasoline. The biodiesel can bore a label from the district's own cache. Maya recognized the barcode font. She zoomed until the pixels blurred. The duplicate turned, raised a hand, and extended one finger, as if scolding a child who had strayed too far. Maya's palms prickled, and then she understood. The repetition, the purposeful eye contact, the vanishing. It wasn't intimidation. It was communication. The other woman wanted Maya's attention focused on the screens, because somewhere else, something bigger was unfolding. She checked the drone telemetry backlog. Ariel's GPS had pinged 3 times from coordinates that didn't align with its logged flight path, a breadcrumb trail leading northeast toward the abandoned Quartz Ridge Observatory. The observatory had been shuttered after an earthquake, but Maya knew it still housed a functioning microwave dish and a fiber trunk line. Her duplicate was misdirecting her. Whatever catalyst would turn sparks into catastrophe, it lay up there. Maya packed a day ruck, grabbed 2 spare batteries, and locked the tower's console behind a timed encryption gate. Then she hiked. The trail climbed 2,000 feet over 6 miles, switchbacks lined with manzanita and scree that shifted under her boots. Thunderheads bulked overhead, the air grainy with ozone. By mid-afternoon, she reached the ridge. The observatory's dome rose like a ghost moon above twisted rebar and graffiti. As she crept across the cracked plaza, her radio clicked. "Don't come in, Maya," said her own voice. Close, but slightly off, as if recorded on analog tape and played back at 97% speed. Maya ducked behind a toppled solar panel. "Who are you?" "You know." She peered into the open doorway. Emergency LEDs cast a ruby glow down a spiral stair. Earlier drone pings, those phantom coordinates, aligned within meters. Maya descended. The instrument hall smelled of silicon dust and old coolant. At the center stood a lattice of aluminum struts supporting a ring of drones, not her 4, but dozens, every model from consumer quadcopters to military-grade octocrafts. In their midst, a portable fusion battery thrummed. Power cables snaked to a workstation where duplicate Maya typed. On a high-def monitor, a fractal web of fire behavior simulations unfolded. Ignition points, wind vectors, heat maps, identical to the software Maya herself had written during grad school. Across the hall, the duplicate turned. Up close, the similarities were uncanny. Same freckles, same burn scar, but her pupils held a jittery luminescence, like reflections of unseen moth wings. "You're not surprised," she said. "I am," Maya managed. "Just conserving energy." A smile. "Always practical, even in my branch." "Branch? The multiverse isn't theoretical, sister, it's operational." She tapped a lanyard. The badge showed a black keyhole insignia and the words, "Interliminal Operations." "We prune timelines. Your forest, your dam, matters 3 branches over. Here, it's spare timber." Maya steadied her voice. "You're going to burn the Sierra to improve odds somewhere else?" "Not just burn. Reset. Firebreak on a civilizational scale. You love models. Run this one. If the Western grid fails tonight, your Congress passes the Accelerated Renewal Act next quarter. Emissions drop 8% by 2040. Enough to blunt the methane surge that destroys another branch entirely. We salvage 9 billion lives. This world is a calculated sacrifice." Maya's chest went cold. The logic was brutal, elegant, monstrous. She said, "You think lives are interchangeable. My crews, my friends. Your friends exist in thousands of branches. Their loss here reverberates as salvation elsewhere. That's the math. Maya glanced at the drone lattice. Thermite charges were magnet-clamped beneath each hull. When those drones launched, they would scatter hell. Inside her thigh pocket, she carried a single flash drive kill switch able to brick her own fleet. But this was bigger. Lightning cracked outside, rumbling down the stairwell. Duplicate Maya typed a final command. The drone's status LEDs flipped from amber to green. Maya stepped forward. I understand the math, she said, but you miscalculated one variable. Which? You recruited the wrong Maya. She hurled her water bottle, steel-cased, full, into the fusion battery's coolant port. The bottle struck, dented metal, and wedged. Superheated fluid sprayed, wreathed in steam. Alarms wailed. Voltage sagged. LEDs blinked red. Duplicate Maya cursed and kicked the console. Sparks flew. Stupid, she spat. You'll kill us both. Not if I ground the circuit. Maya yanked a copper bus bar free and slammed it against a support beam. Electricity arced, scorching her glove. Drones lost power, thudding to the floor. Thermite charges clanged harmlessly aside. The duplicate lunged. They grappled amid twitching rotors. Their movements matched like mirror choreography, each predicting the other's feints. But Maya knew her own lingering injury, a micro-tired rotator cuff that twinged on overextension. So she feigned a high hook, forced her twin to counter with the same shoulder, and felt the duplicate's joint seize. Maya twisted her arm behind her back, driving her to her knees. End it, Duplicate Maya hissed. 2 lives versus 9 billion. Do the calculus. I did, Maya said, panting. But I waited for intimacy. She zip-tied the duplicate's wrists with cables. Outside, sirens rose, likely ground crews responding to the dome's emergency beacon tripped by the battery overload. Maya scanned the console. Despite the crash, data scrolled on an auxiliary screen. Gateway coordinates, protocol headers, tunneling into something labeled Stack Node, Aleph 5. She selected the entire directory and overwrote it with a loop of drone footage. Chipmunks and waterfalls, anything mundane. Then triggered a zeroization routine. Drives word, shredding terabytes of interliminal intel. The duplicate watched, eyes bleak. Another branch will come, she whispered. You only delayed the inevitable. Entropy doesn't bargain. Maya knelt. Maybe, but there's always another variable. Resistance. Footsteps clattered on the stair. The first firefighters appeared, axes reflecting crimson strobes. Their lieutenant's gaze darted from the sparking battery to the 2 identical women. It's complicated, Maya said. But the short version? She's under arrest for arson. They cuffed the duplicate, who did not struggle. As they led her up the stairs, she paused. Over her shoulder, she called, You'll need to choose eventually, Maya. One world or all worlds. Maya didn't answer. She was already kneeling beside the crippled fusion battery, isolating circuits to prevent meltdown. Snow melt trickled through cracks in the roof, hissing where it touched the hot casing, nature applying her own coolant. When the danger subsided and the crews escorted the prisoner outside, Maya stood alone among the silent drones. She felt weightless, as though reality's floor had dropped a foot and left her suspended. She powered her handheld and summoned Drake's camera. Its lens, miles away, showed sunrise flooding the forest in soft gold. No smoke. She climbed to the plaza. 2 deputies questioned her duplicate in the back of a cruiser, baffled by the identical ID cards both women carried. Maya offered no clarification. Until she understood the rules of this new game, any statement could become a weapon. A medtech cleaned the burn on her glove, revealing blisters. The pain grounded her. While the crews secured the site, Maya hiked back to her tower, moving through a world that felt subtly off-angle, as if every tree had rotated toward an unseen axis. At the ridge crest, Radio chatter crackled. Ranger Ortega, copy? She pressed transmit. Reading you. We've got an anomalous signal on your command frequency. It's voice modulated. You want patch through? Maya hesitated. The setting sun painted the valley amber, shadows flowing like dark water. Go ahead. Static, then a chorus of her own voice, layered, hundreds, maybe thousands of iterations whispering in sync. We see you, Maya. Hold fast. The channel cut. She gripped the railing until the metal bit her palms. Fear rose, but beneath it, a calmer current. Determination. Her reality might be only one thread in a cosmic loom, but it was hers. Others could argue branch optimizations. She would defend the tangible soil beneath her boots. Inside the dome, she rebooted the console. Systems green. The forest exhaled in the last light. She deployed Ariel, Beagle, Curie, and Drake, programming new patrols that overlapped in a dense grid. She began drafting a protocol. Multi-factor authentication on fuel depots, geofencing for drone payloads, and, critical, anomalous identity detection. And in a document hidden behind 7 layers of encryption, she started a log. Interliminal Incursion 1. She detailed everything: sightings, conversations, coordinate sets. Evidence mattered. The truth, rendered in data, was the sharpest blade she owned. Night deepened, spotted with stars. The tower lights dimmed to save power. Maya heated a pouch meal and, for the first time in days, let the quiet settle. Every branch of every universe might be polishing its own knife. But she had reclaimed this moment. Tomorrow, she would contact journalists she trusted, blow whistles, sow a garden of questions no agency could bury. She would request transfer keys for additional drones, lobby for more rangers, teach them to look not only for smoke, but for the shape of a familiar silhouette in places it didn't belong. In her mind, she replayed the duplicate's warning. One world, or all worlds. She lifted her coffee mug to the dark glass where her reflection hovered. Both, she said. Watch me.